Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Blue Whale and welcome back to another Preseason 2016 video. And today we're going to be talking about Kha'Zix, and I figured since I did the Rengar video the other day, I can do the Kha'Zix video today, and then we'll have the complete set, I guess. So, as far as Kha'Zix goes, he's actually one of my favorite champions to play, but as you guys probably know, I prefer tanks over assassins usually, so I don't play Kha'Zix that much, but back in Season 3, if you guys are old players, when Kha'Zix was really overpowered, I played him a ton then. And I've been playing him recently. I think he's actually pretty good. He's certainly a lot easier than Rengar. And, sorry, I'm probably going to be comparing them both this whole video, but Kha'Zix is definitely easier than Rengar, and he's a lot more fun to me. But the thing is, Kha'Zix is easier to teamfight with, and easier to just play, but he's not as easy to delete people with, because with Rengar you just need 4 stacks of your passive, and then you jump on someone, you Q, you W, and then you Q, and they're usually dead. But Kha'Zix can't do that. The only way Kha'Zix can one-shot people is if you're really fed and ahead, and then other than that you're kind of out of luck. So that's really the difference between them, but as for my personal preference, it's definitely Kha'Zix. And I hope this video can help you guys, and you can enjoy Kha'Zix as much as I do. Okay, so here we are on the client, and we'll go ahead and get through with the boring stuff first. First off, I do have a Twitter, if you guys don't know, and you can follow me there. There should be a link in the description, and there's also a link on my channel page. And if you want to follow me there, I think I'm going to start asking questions, like what kind of videos you guys want to see, or, you know, just stuff like that. I'm probably going to be using it a lot more, so it'd be cool if you can follow me. If you don't want to, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. Also, if you want to talk to me on the client, you can join this chat room called Whale Lounge. If you want to join a chat room, what you do is you go down to this button, and then you click it, join a chat room, and you would just type in Whale Lounge, and it'll pull this up. I actually have this where I auto-join on startup. If you want to do that, I usually keep it open on my client, so I'll see it in between my games. If you want to put questions here, you can also leave questions in the comment section or tweet at me or whatever. I'll see all of those. But anyways, that's the boring stuff. We do have some music today. Since in the Rengar video we used some not chill music, I guess you could call it, we're going to do the same here today. This is another song from the Pokemon Insurgence soundtrack. I actually like this one a little bit more than the last one we used. But anyways, there's a link to this in the description below if you want to listen to it. And also, I listen to my YouTube videos on repeat with a Chrome extension called Auto Replay. So that's why this is going to repeat for us. Okay. Now, we can talk more about Kha'Zix. So Kha'Zix is, like I said, he's pretty good. As far as runes go, I've been running my standard AD page on Kha'Zix. This isn't necessarily the most optimal page to run on Kha'Zix, but I find that it works really well. And I'll talk you through it, and then we'll talk about how you could optimize it more. So you're going to take 4 armor pin reds and 5 attack damage reds. That's just to get a little bit of armor pin on your kit since the jungle item doesn't give armor pin anymore. Standard attack damage reds. We take armor yellows because if you don't take armor yellows, you're going to be dying in the jungle. And then it's 6 cooldown blues and 3 magic resist blues. And these 6 cooldown blues are just going to give you 5% CDR. And if you don't have armor pin reds, attack damage reds are fine. I would definitely recommend attack damage quints though. You could, if you have armor pin quints and you don't have armor pin reds, you could of course switch those. Just try to hit these numbers as close as you can. And then as far as blues go, if you don't have cooldown, you can take magic resist here. And that would actually be a lot more optimal than this, because with the build we're going to be going, you're going to get 40% CDR from your build alone. So this 5% on your rune page is actually pretty wasted. But the reason I take it is because it helps your first clear a lot if you have this 5% CDR. And it's going to help you skirmish early until you're able to build up your items. That's pretty much it. If you're really worried about having the most optimal rune page, then you can take magic resist here. You could even take 10% CDR by taking 5 scaling CDR ones, and then not build Yomu's, but we'll talk about that when we get to item sets. But this actually has worked very, very well for me. I really recommend it because it makes it a lot easier to first clear on Kha'Zix, and Kha'Zix has the same problem as Rengar. Their first clear is kind of hard, and then after that it gets really easy. So this is what I've been running. As far as masteries go, these are my masteries. They're kind of different than the Rengar ones. On Rengar, I recommend taking the Armor Pin and Fervor. But on this one, I definitely go Thunderlords, and the reason for that is because Kha'Zix is... So Rengar auto attacks a lot more than Kha'Zix. It might not seem like that, but Kha'Zix's Q is not an auto attack, unlike Rengar's is. So on Rengar, you're going to get a lot more usage out of Fervor, because it's going to hit on every single one of your Qs. But on Kha'Zix, that just doesn't happen. So there's really no reason to go into this tree. If you really want the 7% armor pin, you can go into this. But none of these three are very good on Kha'Zix. There's not a single one that makes sense. So I go into Thunderlords. I also take the CDR here because 5% bonus CDR, which will cap you at 45%. You will be hitting 45% with this build. Is a lot better than the 8.4 dual penetration that this grants. If this gets buffed, like significantly buffed, then ask me about it in the comment section and I'll tell you which one I think is better. But as of right now, and the time this video is going to be going up, the intelligence is much, much better to take. So you're going to take sorcery, obviously, because Kha'Zix is completely spell based, like I said, so you want to have increased ability damage. Double-edged sword because you're a melee champion. If you want to take feast, if you're having trouble clearing the jungle, feast will actually help you sustain quite a bit on your first clear, so you can do that if you want. But this is going to make a big difference late game when you're trying to assassinate people. So I recommend double-edged sword, but if you need to take feast, you should. While you're learning Kha'Zix, that might be the best thing to do. Next, Vampirism is about 40 times better than Natural Talent, just because it's a percentage lifesteal and spell vamp. That's going to apply on your Q and your auto attacks as well. This will help you heal quite a bit. It's a lot better than Natural Talent. And then I do take Bounty Hunter because, like I said in the Rengar video, if you kill 3 different people, which you probably will on Kha'Zix, then Bounty Hunter is always more powerful than Oppressor. However, if you want to play it safe, you can get Oppressor. This means you'll always deal increased damage if you slow them with your W, but I really think Bounty Hunter is the one you want to take. And then over here, Savagery, this just helps your clear a little bit quicker for your first clear. Like I said, it is hard, so I do take this. You could go Wanderer if you want, but if you take Wanderer, you're probably going to die, or you're going to have to back very early and then go back and clear the rest of your jungle. I take Runic Affinity because you are going to be going Refillable Potion on Kha'Zix. Well, you don't really have to. If you want to take Secret Stash and start with 3 health pots, that will make your first clear way, way easier, but I don't do that. I go with Refillable, so it's up to you. This is the best mastery page for Kha'Zix, in my opinion, but the easiest clear page would be taking these two. So if you want to switch that, you can, but I recommend taking it like this. And then Merciless, this increases damage to low health targets. You're an assassin, so you want this. Dangerous Game, this restores missing health and mana. This is actually very, very good on Kha'Zix because you get resets. With Kha'Zix's E, you'll get a reset if you get a kill, and then this means you can just keep jumping around and you'll keep restoring health, so you're not going to die while you get your resets. We already talked about Intelligence is a lot better than Precision, and then Thunderlords. Thunderlords is probably the best mastery for burst champions, such as Kha'Zix. It's just going to add, when you jump on someone, and the Kha'Zix combo, by the way, is you shoot your W first if you have sight of the target, and then you E to them, you Q, and if you have Hydra at that point, you activate it too. So Thunderlords will go off when you jump on them. When you jump on them and Q, Thunderlords will go off. So it just adds to your burst is all. It's a lot better than any of these 3. So that's it for masteries. I know I kind of talked about the same thing in a circle there, but that's okay. These are definitely the best, and runes, I really recommend you take these, but if you're worried about the extra CDR, you can switch them for magic resist. And then now we'll move on to item sets. There is a Nautilus video coming out, spoiler. This video is going to come out first, but I'm working on a Nautilus one too. But we're going to pause it, and I will come back when we have the item set complete. Okay, so we're back with all the items. and you are going to start with Hunter's Talisman because Kha'Zix is very mana dependent. Like I said, he's spell dependent, so you should probably figure he's mana dependent. And unlike Rengar, Kha'Zix does have mana. I do start Refillable Potion because I am pretty experienced with Kha'Zix and I'm able to clear with it. Like I've said before, if you are able to clear with Refillable Potion, it's a lot better to get it than health pots. But if you're just trying Kha'Zix for the first time, if you're watching this video and then you're going to go try Kha'Zix for the first time, definitely go with the 3 health pots, because if you don't know Kha'Zix and you start with this, you're probably going to die in the jungle. However, once you get used to him, this, like I said, this is just a lot better to get if you can than the 3 health pots, because they're the same amount of gold, and then the first time you back, this gives you more healing than the 3 health pots did. Okay, then you're going to get a yellow trinket because you don't want to get invaded level 1, and we'll talk about where to put your yellow trinket in the gameplay. And then, yeah, that's it for starting items. Next up, for the build, I would recommend these 6 items pretty much every single Kha'Zix game. If you're just starting to learn Kha'Zix, probably go these items. The thing about learning new champions, I've never actually said this, but I do believe this, is that it's better to test out your limits and, you know, maybe trial and error, die a little bit, but know how much you can take, than it is to play really safe and then live and then, you know, not really know what your champion can do. So when you're trying out a champion for the first time, probably do it in a normal. I wouldn't do it in a ranked, but, you know, go aggro, do everything you can, see how much you can do, and then once you get more experience, you can start switching it up. But however, these are the 6 items I'd recommend. I do go Green Smite on pretty much every jungler I play because I believe Green Smite's a whole lot better than any of the other 2 smites. If you don't want Green Smite, you can take Stalker's Blade. That'll increase your damage a little bit in your combo, and it'll also help you catch people if they're good at kiting you. I wouldn't really take Red Smite on Kha'Zix because you don't auto attack that much, and you only apply true damage on your auto attacks. So you could take Red Smite if you're having trouble killing their AD carry because it does reduce the damage they deal to you. But overall, I would recommend Tracker's Knife first, Stalker's Knife if you have to, and then I probably wouldn't go Skirmishers. But anyways, Tracker's Knife, obviously you want to go Warrior because you're a full AD assassin. Next, I do take Boots of Swiftness. It's very nice having a lot of movement speed on Kha'Zix because then while you're ulting, you can get around quicker. When you jump on someone and kill them, then you can jump back out because, well, we'll talk about skill order, I guess, at the end of this item set. So we'll talk about that before we go to the gameplay. But anyways, it'll help you get around after your resets and all that stuff. However, if you're versus a 5 AD team or something and you're a little behind, Ninja Tabby are great too on Kha'Zix. And if you're versus a ton of CC, and then 1, you probably shouldn't have played Kha'Zix, but 2, you can go Merc Treads to try to help you out. CC is really annoying, so I would probably go Merc Treads if they're just CCing you down every time you try to jump on someone, but the best boots to take are definitely Swiftness on Kha'Zix. Okay, next up we do take Youmuu's Ghostblade on Kha'Zix, and this might seem kind of weird because this whole time I've been saying you don't auto attack on Kha'Zix very much, and then Youmuu's is pretty much an auto attack item. But the reason that we take it is because it grants 20 flat armor pen, which you do want to get as much armor pen as you can on these AD assassins such as Rengar and Kha'Zix, because the more armor pen you have, the harder it is for them to build to resist you, obviously. Also, Youmuu's active is actually pretty good on Kha'Zix, but it's good because of the movement speed. The attack speed is really not that important because, as I've said, you don't auto attack that much, but it will help you too. It's not like the attack speed is going to hurt you, but the movement speed really does actually make a difference. So it's a good item. It's also really easy to build. If you're behind and you have to keep backing, you can just buy all 4 longswords and then build it up. You know, it's a really good item. Youmuu's is, even though you don't auto attack that much, it still makes sense on Kha'Zix. Okay, next up, I do take Black Cleaver on Kha'Zix. This is going to cap out your CDR to 45% because of the masteries we have, and then also it's going to give you a little more armor shred. It gives you some health for some survivability, and it gives you 55 attack damage, which isn't really that bad. So overall, Black Cleaver is really good, but it is pretty expensive, and it has a weird build path. When you're building Black Cleaver, you want to go Warhammer before Phage, because when you go Warhammer, then you will have your CDR at 40% because of the runes you're taking, and then when you finish it, it'll go up to 45%. It's a really good item on Kha'Zix, but it's a little bit harder to build than either of these, so we just build it 4th. And then Hydra actually adds to your combo a lot, but the reason that you can't build Hydra early is because 1, Tiamat sucks right now, and 2, it's a really expensive item. See, this is the most expensive item on the whole build, and even when you don't have it, your combo is still going to be fine. It's just going to add a lot to your combo. Like I said before, the combo on Kha'Zix is W if you can, and then you E and Q as soon as you land, and if you have Hydra, you would activate it too. But you don't need it to clear the jungle, you don't need it to sustain, you know, you could just get it. Hold on, let me pause it real quick. Okay, we're back with item sets. I think I was talking about Hydra. Yeah, I do have it here. So Hydra is going to add to your damage combo. It will help your clear speed a lot, but you don't really need it for any of those things. It's just kind of a bonus. So I would recommend getting it 5th, of course. It's good, but it's not worth rushing, because the armor pen is going to help you a lot more than the Hydra would. Finally, we have Lord Dominic's as your last item. At this point, you're going to be pretty much straight AD. You will have a Black Cleaver, but other than that, straight AD. So Lord Dominic's is probably going to be really good. It's basically an upgrade of Last Whisper that also grants you bonus damage if they have more health than you. So if a target has built a serious health item, not this 300 health Black Cleaver, then you're probably going to be doing increased damage to them. If you don't want to get Lord Dominic's, you can get Mortal Reminder. Both of them are fine. And if you're versus a healing tank like Mundo or Maokai maybe, or Zac or someone like that, Mortal Reminder would probably be better. But on an all-purpose build, Lord Dominic's. Okay, and then finally, do get your Oracle Alteration at level 9. And of course, on your first back, you want to buy a red trinket. You want to trade out your yellow trinket for a red trinket. Okay, now we'll talk about the alternatives. You can get blue trinket on Kha'Zix, as we talked about in the hack room video. I didn't mention it in the Rengar video, but blue trinket's really, really broken right now. I don't know when they're going to nerf it or if they're going to nerf it, but if they don't, the reason it's broken is it has really far cast range, it has unlimited wards, and the wards don't die on their own. They have to be killed. So overall, it's a really broken item right now. If they do nerf it, then it's no contest. Oracle would be better, but if your team isn't warding very well, you can get blue trinket and pretty much ward the whole map yourself. Okay, we already talked about the boots. Death Stance is actually pretty good on Kha'Zix. So Death Stance gives you 10% CDR, 65 attack damage, and then it pretty much gives you a red potion passive. If you deal physical damage, you'll heal. Instead of lifesteal, it's all physical damage. And the reason this is good on Kha'Zix is because this will apply on your Q. So you'll get pretty much lifesteal for your Q with Death Stance. And that can help you a lot if you're having to 1v1 and you're not bursting people. But overall, it's not better than any of these items, so I don't recommend it. But you can get it if you want. If you do want to get this, I would probably get it instead of Yomu's, I guess. You could trade this out for Yomu's. It's going to fill that CDR cap. And then if you get Black Cleaver anyways, you're going to have enough armor pen. So it's good, but I don't think it's better than any of these. However, if you're playing a game where you have to fight people a lot, maybe they have a lot of bruisers and you're just in extended fights a lot, then you would want Death Stance. Also, the other passive where it returns damage you take as a bleed is pretty good too. Okay, we're going to talk about Mortal Reminder, and then we're going to talk about the defensive items you can get on Kha'Zix. So if you're just having a really long game and it gets very late, then you're probably going to want to buy a defense item. If that does happen, then what you need to do is probably sell your jungle item. If it gets very late game and you need a defense item, I would recommend keeping all these 4 and then selling your jungle item for a defense item. Randuin's is fine. It gives you... also, you don't have to sell your jungle item. If you're just behind, you could get a defense item instead of Lord Dominic's. That's fine too. Okay, Randuin's is good. It gives you good health, good armor, and it reduces damage from critical strikes. So this is good against Yasuo, Gangplank, Tryndamere, or just multiple AD carries. Deadman's, of course, you guys know this is probably like my favorite item in the game. Good health, good armor, and a lot of mobility, and an increased damage on your first auto attack, which even though Kha'Zix doesn't auto attack much, he does auto attack. So having increased damage on that will help. Banshees is probably the best magic resist item for Kha'Zix. It means when you ult and jump in on someone, you'll block the first spell on you, whether that's hard CC to get you off of them or just a big burst. Either way, Banshee's Veil is really good. If you don't want to get Banshees, you can get Spirit Visage. It'll increase how much your W heals you and how much Hydra heals you. But overall, I do not think it is any better than Banshee's Veil at all. And then finally, we have Guardian Angel. This is the all-purpose one. With Guardian Angel, you'll be able to jump in, assassinate someone, and then even if you die, maybe your team gets the rest low, and then you revive, and you can start getting resets and carry the fight from there. So, honestly, I would recommend going these 6, especially if you're new to Kha'Zix. Go these 6 pretty much every game, and then when you learn more about them, you can start weaving in these items and then see what you like. I haven't actually mentioned this much in my videos, but my videos aren't, or my builds aren't necessarily the perfect builds for a champion. And the more you learn about a champion, the more I recommend that you try out different stuff. But if you're just starting, then you need to be going this 6 pretty much every single game. And you need to go the runes and masteries I showed you. Okay, now I think we were going to talk about evolving stuff before we moved on to the gameplay. So let's see if Kha'Zix has a... Let's see. Basically, when you get ranks of your ult, you'll be able to evolve your spells. And also, if you beat Rengar in the hunt, which if you guys don't know what the hunt is, if Kha'Zix is on one team and Rengar is on the other, they're both level 16, and Kha'Zix has spent all of his evolve points, then the hunt starts. And what the hunt is whoever kills the other first gets a bonus. Rengar's bonus actually doesn't really do anything, but Kha'Zix's gives him another evolve point, which is actually a really big deal. But anyways, for evolving, the first thing you want to evolve is your leap, because when you evolve it, it makes it a lot larger, and it gives you a reset every time you get a kill or assist. And then that's just going to add a ton of mobility onto your kit, and it's going to help you finish up those double kills that would have been single kills, and gives you really great escape because of how big the leap is. Next, you do evolve Q, because this is where most of your damage comes from anyways, and then when you evolve it, it does even more damage, and it increases your auto attack range actually, which isn't that big a deal, but it's kind of cool that you get more auto attack range when you evolve it. And then finally, for your last point, it's up to you what you want to do. You can evolve your W or your R. I would choose to evolve my ult more often, because it gives you another rank of your ult, and the duration is doubled. So that's just, once again, a lot more mobility on your kit. You can hide around more in team fights and then jump in when you need to. However, if you want to evolve W, this is going to be more damage, because you're going to fire 3 spikes in a cone, and the slow effect is increased, so it gives you a little more CC, and you're able to hit 3 targets at once rather than just 1 target. Really, I would recommend Void Assault evolve, so evolve E, Q, and then ult, but if you want to evolve W, you can. It's just, in my personal preference, I would recommend evolving your ult. And that's it for Kha'Zix abilities, the runes, masteries, and item sets, and now we'll finally move on to the gameplay. Okay, so here we are loading to the game, and as you can see, the enemy team actually picked 5 AD. I picked kind of early. It's kind of risky to pick Kha'Zix early, because if your team picks a squishy top and you play Kha'Zix in the jungle, you're probably just going to lose. But luckily, my top laner went Malphite this game, so we actually have a really good team comp versus their 5 AD comp. But as usual, you kind of want to plan out your early game. However, on Kha'Zix, your first clear is so bad, especially if you go with this refillable potion, that you can't really do much. Also, let's turn it on to red sight and turn off chat, because my Lux actually spammed a lot. She was good, but a lot of spam came out of this Lux, but it's no big deal. Anyways, so you do want to plan out your early game, but it's kind of hard on Kha'Zix. It's not, you can't really gank a lane easily level 1, and this game I actually tried starting at a buff to see if it would help your clear, but I think it's a little bit worse, because you do start Q at level 1 on Kha'Zix, and then that means that you can kill Gromp actually pretty easy, because Gromp is always isolated. And if you guys didn't know, I don't know if I dealt this, but basically, or I don't know if I said this, but basically Kha'Zix's isolation factor is that if a target is isolated, your Q does increased damage to them. That's it. And to be isolated, there's a certain area around them that they need to not have any allies in. And certain monsters are always isolated. So Gromp is always isolated, Dragon is always isolated, and Rift Herald and Baron are always isolated. And then other monsters, you want to kill the little ones first, so you make the big one isolated, and then you can kill it. But I do think it's better to start Gromp or Krugs to get your W before you move on to a buff, because as you can see, I actually get really low trying to do this blue without my W. But anyways, like I said, what I usually do on Kha'Zix is I auto the little ones, and then I'll queue the big one most of the time when the queue's up, but it doesn't really matter. Just make sure you kill the little ones first, and then move on to the big one after that. And then now it's isolated, so my Q is going to do a little increased damage. And I am trying to walk it around. This does save you a little bit of health, because the whole time that blue buff is moving, it can't hit you, obviously. But it's not that big a deal to do this, whether you want to or not. However, it's not really hard to clear on Kha'Zix. So he doesn't have any auto resets. He doesn't have any tricks. You just clear the jungle on him. Actually, saying that, we can talk about... this is glitched. Okay, alright. We can talk about this. So, doing Raptors, or any camp, you want to get into the middle of them before you hit anything, and then activate your W. Because your W will then hit all 4 targets. And that's probably the only trick on Kha'Zix. The rest is pretty self-explanatory. And here, I'm just clearing the jungle. I would have smited Raptor if I could have lived red when I smited it, but I definitely couldn't have. Here, this actually was Kindred's mark, as you can see. So I went ahead and warded over here because I wanted to see if Kindred was going to come check her mark or come invade my red. And then I'm just going to go do the red, kill the little ones first, and I am going to have to smite the red here for sure, or else I'm going to die to it. So that's what I'm doing right now. Walking it around, and I barely managed to kill it. Like I said, it's the refillable potion. If you don't go refillable, it's not this hard, but that's worse after your first back. Okay, and then now I'm doing the scuttle because I just wanted to heal some, and then actually this becomes Kindred's mark as I kill it, so that was pretty lucky for me. I get a free deny on Kindred again. And then here, I'm waiting to gank top. I knew that Kindred... So the reason I came up here is because I knew Kindred was going to come top since this was her mark. She's obviously going to check to see if her mark's there, and since it wasn't, she's going to come gank top because my Malphite was pushed. So I'm waiting in the bush to try to counter gank. I come out when I know that the Jax's stun is gone. I unfortunately missed my W. And then the Malphite goes in. I'm going to try to just hit whoever I can. The Jax was isolated at this point, so I hit him a little bit. However, he does a good bit of damage to me, and Kindred has a red buff and blue buff, so she's going to be able to finish me off. And then my Malphite does get the Jax, and then the Kindred kills Malphite. So that went pretty badly for our team, but luckily Kindred didn't have either of us marked, so she's still at 0 marks on her passive. And as long as she's not stacking up her passive, it's not that big a deal. The thing about Kindred is that a good Kindred player will pretty much always try to get their mark as soon as they can. So knowing that, you want to try to deny them as much as you can. Go to the mark first, fight them there, get your team to help you. Kindred's pretty strong right now, but they're not that good if they don't get any of their passive early. So just keep that in mind. Here, just back to jungling. My Lux was getting kind of ganked by Kindred because she was Kindred's mark, as you might have seen earlier. So I'm going to come down and make sure that the Lux is able to leave here safely. She's going to be able to. The Kindred... I messed with the Kindred a little bit. As you can see, I did burst her, but she had her heal passive up from her W, so that means that I'm going to eventually lose this trade. So I go ahead and hop out. And I see that she backed off, so I'm going to go ahead and kill my Raptors. And basically, on Kha'Zix, it's a lot like Rengar, where you want to focus on farming as much as you can, unless you know you can get a kill. So just keep farming your jungle, keep farming, and then once you hit level 6 and you get your leap, it actually becomes a lot easier to get kills. So until then, just farm where you can, and if you think you can get a kill, go for a gank, but other than that, don't really do it. Kha'Zix's ganks are a lot easier than Rengar's, because Kha'Zix can leap whenever he wants, and Rengar can only leap out of bushes. So overall, like I said, Kha'Zix is just a lot easier champion to play than Rengar, but I do think in terms of overall power, Rengar's a little bit ahead, but it's okay. Anyways, here the Kindred keeps chasing my Lux for some reason, and this time I'm pretty sure that I can kill the Kindred here because 1, the Kindred kept focusing the Lux instead of switching to me, and 2, she was like half health, and I do have Merciless, Or is it Executioner? I don't know. Anyways, no, it's Merciless. But do more damage to low health targets, and we are able to kill the Kindred. Now, I'm going to go back to jungling. I am kind of close to level 6. I am going to kill my Gromp here. It was still level 2. You can't tell, but it was. And now I'm level 5. I do have a Raptor buff, and that means I'll know if this bush is warded when I walk into it. It wasn't, so I'm going to sit here. My Nami actually does a pretty good job of baiting the enemy bot lane. And even though it looks like she was baiting, they are kind of winning this trade. However, the Vayne gets away, and then she spams her emote, so she's just asking to die, right? The bot lane's going to live here. The Blitzcrank almost kills them. But then here... Alright, well, watch me. We don't have to worry about bot lane. So... I was here to counter gank, or if the enemy bot lane had chased my bot lane up here, they were easily going to die. However, the Vayne gets away and she starts spamming her emote, so I decide I'm going to kill her. Now, there are two ways I can play this. The first way is I flash over, hit her, and then leap out. And the second way is I leap in, hit her, and then flash out. Now, the only difference is that even when it's not evolved, Kha'Zix's leap is a little bit bigger than flash. So you're going to have more leeway on leaping out than you are going to have on flashing out. So I decide to flash in here. Now, the Vayne's dead as soon as I touch her. All I have to do is Q her. I did use my W just because, I guess it's kind of muscle memory on Kha'Zix to use my W first. And then after I kill her, I'm going to be able to leap out, and it's no real problem. My bot lane also manages to outplay the Blitzcrank, and they kill him there. And now I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually 2-1-1. I've managed to kill the Kindred and the Vayne so far. And then Kindred walks up. I shoot my W to where it's going to hit her if she keeps chasing. She decides to turn around, and then because of that, my Lucian's going to get some free harass on her. And I'm just hanging around to make sure that Kindred doesn't dive in. So pretty easy stuff so far. Just my bot lane, I was able to clean up after them. And like I said, that's what you do on Kha'Zix. You farm unless you know that you can get a kill somewhere. And then if you know that you can get a kill, you can go there. On Kha'Zix, I do like to keep my blue buff if I'm able to. It's good to give your blue buff to your mid laner because you are an AD champion, and blue buff now gives an AP scaling. But my Lux was dead, and she also had 3 Doran's rings, so I knew she had pretty much good mana sustain. And I'm doing pretty well, so I'm going to keep the blue. It's really down to you. Kha'Zix does need blue early because he has really bad mana problems, but if your mid laner is going to get really upset about it, just give them blue. It's not that big a deal. Okay, but now I finally hit level 6, and I can't afford my jungle item at this point, like my full jungle item. So I go back, I buy it, and then I evolve my wings, as you can see. And one thing to note, or not to note, but just a fun fact for you. Mecha Kha'Zix used to have an advantage over the other Kha'Zix skins, as in it would give you a alert noise if somebody became isolated. They recently updated it to where the other Kha'Zix skins do that too, but before that, Mecha was actually the best skin to run on Kha'Zix if you could. Just fun fact, that's why I have Mecha. That's not why I have Mecha. I like Mecha. It was the only skin that was out when I was maining Kha'Zix back in Season 3, but it's kind of funny that Mecha gave you an advantage. But here, I go ahead and clear the red. I have my jungle item now, and I have my increased leap. And as you can see, the increased leap range is just huge. I jumped from here to the turret, and then I'm just going to stop the Yasuo from getting a bunch of damage on our turret. There's no reason for me to let him get it low while my Lux was missing. And then I'm going to go back to jungling. There is a pink ward in this bush, unfortunately, and then I'm going to place my pink ward here. When you're jungling, you need to ask your laners to buy pinks, because pretty much everyone buys pinks, and yellow trinket gives them a lot of wards. So if your lanes aren't buying pinks, then you're not going to be able to gank that easily, basically. So I place this pink here so I can gank top, and then I see that Kha'Zix, or not Kha'Zix, but Yasuo tries to ward it again. And I'm going to go ahead and clear that, and Yasuo is going to... Yasuo can see this ward, by the way. I didn't necessarily do that on purpose, but it's not going to hurt us. Yasuo can see this ward, and he's going to... Right now, he thinks that I'm baiting him to the ward. But really, I'm clearing the Kindred mark because I care more about Kindred than him. Then, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to ask my Lux to stay because he doesn't have sight of her. And then he's going to finally go for this ward. So now, Lux shoots out her spells. And as soon as she does, I jump onto the Yasuo and do my combo. And we can actually watch the combo once. I've already said what it is, but we haven't seen it yet. So let's watch it again. Just watch my cooldowns when we see... Alright. So you're going to shoot out your W first. It's going to go on cooldown first as soon as Lux shoots her spells. So W first, and then you E as soon as you press your W, because your E is actually a little bit faster than your W. So if you shoot them both at the same time, you're going to land about the same time your W does. And then after that, just use your Q when you land. Unfortunately, the Yasuo flashes away from me, and I did ult, but he has his knock up here, so he's going to actually ult onto me. And then he's about to kill me, but luckily Lux hits a really good shield on me. And the dangerous game from Yasuo also helps me live. And here the Kindred flashes over to try to kill me, but since she did that, that means Malphite's going to be able to come in and kill her very easily. So now I'm actually very, very fed at this point. I'm 3-1-2. That score on its own isn't that impressive, but just trust me when I say I know that I'm really fed right now. So now I'm going to go back to jungling once again, because if you aren't killing someone, you need to be jungling. You can't wait around for ganks as an assassin jungler. You have to be always getting money, pretty much. Okay, here I look bottom because the Vayne she's low enough for me to delete her. However, they did have this warded, unfortunately, so I'm not going to be able to do too much. I do walk in because my Nami's like spam pinging me, but there's nothing we can do, so I'm going to go ahead and leave. And what I'm doing right now is just looking around for an enemy. Alright, what happened was, I remember now, sorry. So, me and Nami are both walking mid, and there is a pink ward here, but I don't really care about this pink ward. However, my Nami did. See, I wanted to walk here and ambush either one of these two, because it's a 3v3, but Jax has no health. So I wanted to walk into this bush and ambush somebody. However, the Nami stays to clear the pink, so that one makes sure the enemy knows exactly where Nami is, and then two, I don't know why I turned around here. I was trying to see where Yasuo was going, but then he's actually in this bush. He does have a knock-up, so he's going to go ahead and ult me. Once he ults, I need to ult to get out of here. I leap over the wall. The Blitzcrank's trying to chase me down, but luckily I had another charge of my ult. So I'm going to get out of this safely, and then I'm just going to have to back. Nobody really played that wrong between me and Nami. It's just we weren't on the same page, and then since we weren't on the same page, we weren't able to kill anyone there. However, I go back, and I think I finished my boots right now. Yeah, because I could afford my boots of swiftness, and like I said, I really do like getting them on Kha'Zix. That's pretty much my personal preference, but I really like the increased mobility. And then I get 2 long swords just because I am going for that Yomu's, and it's back to farming. Let's rewind this. So here, this is Kindred's Mark, and since it's Kindred's Marks, I want to clear it. However, I see that my Lucian is very low, and it looks like I can save him, so I'm going to come in. The Jax is pretty much half health. I'm going to go ahead and jump in on him. Lux hits a pretty good ult that hits Blitzcrank, so we're going to be able to finish him off. Alright, let's talk about this again. So let's talk about what my mindset is here. My Lucian's getting chased by a kind of low health Jax. Jax is kind of hard to assassinate, however, so I am going to jump on him, but if I'm not going to be able to kill him, that's okay. I jump onto the Jax. I use my W after I land just because I wasn't sure. Like I said, if you know that you can hit your W first, then you use it first. But if you don't know, then you can use it after you land. That's fine too. Here, my Lux ults. If her ult had hit Jax, he probably would have died to the Malphite. However, it just misses, and it does hit the Blitzcrank, I think. Or it might have missed the Blitzcrank too. However, at this point, Blitzcrank's going to die because now he's isolated since he's nowhere near Jax. So all I have to do is finish him off. It looks like my Malphite's going to be able to kill this Jax anyways, and even if he's not, as soon as I kill Blitzcrank, I see that Kindred's over here, Blitzcrank's about to die, and I also see that Vayne's over here. So if I turn to the Vayne, it becomes a 3v1 versus the Vayne, and Malphite's in a 2v1 versus these two, but he should be okay because he's Malphite, right? So I have a choice here. I can either try to kill the Jax after I kill the Blitzcrank, and then the Kindred can ult the Jax. I didn't know if her ult was up or not. I think it looks like she just used it somewhere. But anyways, I didn't know if her ult was up or not, and I don't like messing with Kindred, and this was going to be a 3v1. So I'm going to turn to the Vayne. I'm going to jump onto her. You jump as soon as you land. You can auto. I think my Q was on cooldown. Yeah, if I didn't Q immediately, then my Q was on cooldown. And then here, we kill the Vayne. Here comes the Kindred ult. And then I'm going to try to wait out this Kindred ult because I know I can delete Jax as soon as the Kindred ult ends. So I'm just kind of waiting it out. Unfortunately, I didn't have the timing down perfectly. My Lux did, so she's going to get the kill. So yeah, jump in. I try to burst him. I do get healed. And oh no, I did get it. Okay, I must be thinking about a different time. Sorry. So basically, we can watch that part again. We already saw the blitzcrank. Right, we see the Vayne, but then here, waiting out the Kindred ult as long as I can. Once I know that the Kindred ult's about to end, I'm gonna go ahead and jump onto the Jax. I think the thing I did wrong was... No, I played that pretty much perfectly. Not to brag or anything, but that was the best I could do. And then, now it's a 3v1 versus Kindred. She is going to kill the Malphite, but it doesn't matter because now she's going to die to me and Lux. I do have another hop up because it is a reset, so even if she tries to flash away, which I think she actually does, we'll see. She Qs and then... Oh, well, when she Qs away, I'm just going to jump on her and then kill her. I think Lux gets it. That's fine. So, basically, that was just using my good timing to kill the Jax and taking advantage of Vayne walking into a bad spot. So now at this point, like I said, I was already fed. So now I'm just absurdly strong. Let's see how much money I have. I almost have enough to get my Youmuu's. I think I'm going to get this blue. I told Lux she could have it if she wants, but she doesn't really seem interested, so I think I take this too. As a matter of fact, I said, do you want this Lux or can I keep it? And then I remember that she replied, yes. So she didn't answer my question at all, and she didn't look like she was pathing this way, and she had one on her, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep it. And then my Lucian unfortunately gets caught by the Blitzcrank and Vayne bottom, and then since our turret has no life, I know they're going to come try to push it. So now I'm waiting in the bush. I tell Nami to go out and bait them because Blitzcrank and Vayne can obviously kill Nami if no one else is here when the turret has no life, right? So I'm just sitting in the bush, waiting patiently. It's not always good to wait, but I was pretty sure that I was going to get 2 kills here. So I'm waiting in the bush. As soon as they come up, the Blitzcrank uses his speed boost, and then I'm going to jump on the Vayne. Once you land, you want to use your Q as you're landing, and then go ahead and hit that auto. Then I'm going to ult again, and it was really important that I sidestepped here because the Vayne was going to E me as soon as she can. So I do manage to sidestep the stun to where I land right here, not against the wall. It was barely not against the wall. And then I'm just going to switch focus to Blitzcrank. Now it's a 3v1. Malphite really didn't need to teleport down, but it's fine either way. And then I do get the double kill. So now I'm just kind of snowballing out of control. That was just me knowing how my enemies have been playing. I knew they were going to try to get the kill on Nami just because they're very aggressive. And then obviously I can punish that as a fed Kha'Zix. Now, I go back and I get the components for Youmuu's. I remember I was like 100 gold away from Youmuu's, but I really didn't want to wait in base for that long. So I go ahead and buy these. And then here, we can actually watch this. We don't need to be watching me. Jax has a Rage Blade, and his Rage Blade's active at this point. No one needs to be near Jax, because with his Rage Blade active, he can kill anyone. However, Lucian runs straight up to him. This is just Jax's Q, and, well, Jax used his QW wrong. If you've seen my Jax video, you'll know what I'm talking about. Jax would have actually got a kill here if he had done it properly, but whatever. That's his business. And then the Lucian flashes away, and then the Jax doesn't have flash, and then I was watching this the whole time. And that just means I get a kill. If I could rotate it around me right now, I could. This Jax is about to die. Just use your Q as you land with your with your E, and it's a lot of damage. So there, my Lucian actually played that really well, but also the Jax misplayed. Not to be too picky, but you guys know I know Jax very well. And that could have been played a lot better by the Jax. But anyways, back to the jungle. Make sure you hit as many monsters as you can with your W. Other than that, it's really simple stuff on Kha'Zix. He's so simple. You just farm as much as you can, and if you look like you can get a kill, make sure you evolve your wings first so you have a massive leap, get the kill, and then you can jump out if you need to, because you have to jump immediately back up. Here, this was Kindred's mark, so I want to go ahead and kill it as soon as I can. And then the Kindred comes to check out her mark. Yeah, Malphite does ult her, and she lives with like 1 HP, manages to get her ult off, and then I'm gonna ult. So that's another important thing. If you manage to play this matchup, Kha'Zix into Kindred, Kha'Zix is probably the only assassin that does not have a problem dealing with Kindred, because when Kindred ults, I can just ult. And the reason that Kindred's ult is so strong is because when she uses it, okay, this was the part where I said that Lux had better timing than me and she gets the kill, but Kindred's ult is strong because when she uses it, she can get you both to almost no health and then kite you away and get a kill. However, if she... in that situation, if you're Kha'Zix, you can just ult, and then she can't hit you, obviously, and then you can just wait out her ult and kill her afterwards, and you won't take that much damage from here. Here, my Malphite really didn't know how to do Rift Herald. I wanted to do it, but Malphite kept moving around, so Rift Herald kept switching aggro a lot, and then Rift Herald resets. Jax comes in, I jump over, I jump away from Jax, and I am forced to use my flash. Here, the Blitzcrank tries to get me, but he's not going to, and then I knew that Jax was going to chase this Nami because, once again, my enemies were just very, very aggressive this game. So this is just another deletion onto Jax, and I actually did the combo perfectly that time. We can watch that again. Alright, let's watch the combo again. So, when you know that you can hit them with your W, lead with your W, and then jump at the same time so you both land, and then you use your Q. You can use your Q while you're midair with your leap. It's not a channel, so while you're jumping with your leap, you can use whatever. You can use your Hydra too before you land. You can use your Q. And that's a lot of damage. And then here, I'm kind of chasing the Blitzcrank. I know that Blitzcrank's team is probably coming up to help him, so I'm not really going to fight this Blitzcrank. And here, I'm just going to get my movement speed shrine and jump away because, like I said, I knew he had a team coming and I don't want to die for free here. So now I really need to be backing pretty soon because I know I can get my Yomus. However, the Yasuo's kind of aggressive on the Lucian. Yasuo can obviously 1v1 Lucian, but not if I'm here. I'm going to go ahead and jump. I actually kind of misplayed this, but the reason I jumped down to here was just to cut off any of Yasuo's escapes. As soon as I land from my jump, Yasuo realizes that he can't escape, and he's going to go ahead and flash onto our Nami. Now, the Nami unfortunately didn't exhaust until Yasuo had already hit her twice. If she had got her exhaust off immediately, she might have lived, but it's okay, because we're going to finish off the Yasuo after that. And now, I'm just clearing some CS. I am rank 11, so I do max my Q second. You can see by my giant claws that I've maxed Q second. Or evolved Q second, sorry. You max Q first. By the way, I don't think I mentioned that. You max Q first, you max your W second. You can max your jump second if you want, but it doesn't do that much damage, and your W heals you more as you max it. So that's why I max W second. Okay, now we're going back, and I think I'm going to be able to get my Yomus and another cooldown item, so I'm going to be at 40%. I'm at 45% because I have a blue buff right now, but otherwise I'd be at 40% until I finish my Black Cleaver, but at this point I'm super strong. And I think actually here comes the deletion. This was so funny. Not to... I don't usually laugh while I'm playing League, but I actually laughed for 2 minutes after what we're about to see. So let me tell you about my mindset. The Kindred was pushing mid. We saw her mid, and then we see that this is her mark. So I saw her walk down to here. I know that she's doing this. I know for a fact she's doing this. The Nami actually used her Frost Queen's claim. That's why we were able to see the Kindred walk to here. So I know Kindred must be around here. So let's watch. Let me slow it down. Well, we can go 1 speed here, and then we'll slow it down when we get close. Alright. So right here I saw Scuttle being hit. So I'm going to go ahead and activate my Yomus. It actually glitched. I saw Scuttle a lot before we saw it. But anyways, I activate my Yomus. She still doesn't see me here, so I'm going to ult. Now, because Scuttle doesn't grant her sight, right? So she didn't see me until I show her. Now watch. Here comes the Kha'Zix deletion. You're going to lead with your W. Usually, I lead with my W. Yeah, just because it's just best to lead with your W at all times. I use my W, I use my Q, I use my auto attack, and then I had Thunderlord's Decree. So all of that kills the Kindred. And I was laughing so hard that I actually deleted someone with Kha'Zix. Because like I said, that doesn't happen unless if you're obscenely fed. But as you can see, I'm 10-1. So I'm pretty fed at this point. The Kindred actually said in all chat that I killed her in 0.43 seconds. Because you know your death recap says that. So fun fact for you guys. 0.43 second deletion. And then here, the game's actually going to be over pretty soon. Obviously, it's going to be a surrender because we have a 10-1 Kha'Zix, so the game's pretty much over. But my team is split pushing, or they are pushing bottom. We didn't even have any turrets. We had 1 turret this whole game, but the enemy kept being very aggressive, so I was able to punish that. Alright, here I am walking down to bot. I wanted to check out their red. It is up, so I think I'm going to do it. Actually, yeah. I just wanted to kill it. And My bot lane is kind of fighting. They're not really fighting, but let's see. So now I'm all off the cooldown. Another thing about 45% CDR Kha'Zix is that usually using your leap is actually really punishing if you don't get the reset, but 11 seconds isn't that big a deal at 45%. So 45% Kha'Zix is definitely the way to go on Kha'Zix. It's debatable on Rengar, but it's not debatable on Kha'Zix. Also, my Q is on less than a 2-second cooldown, so it's awesome. Alright, anyways. My team gets kind of in a team fight here. I tell them that I'm here. I did have my red trinket rolling, so I know that I'm not on a ward. So the enemy team probably doesn't know that I'm around. I ping for my team to come in and help me. The Malphite goes in and starts, but I don't want to go in even right now. My team's doing well in this team fight, but there's no reason for me to show up when Kindred still has her ult, Yasuo still has his ult, Blitzcrank still has his ult. You know, there's no reason for an assassin to go in then. So I'm going to go ahead and let them fight a little bit. It does seem kind of selfish, but that's just how assassins play. Now, the Vayne walks out of the Kindred ult. So as soon as I see that, I'm hoping that I can get the easy to lead on her. However, she manages to just step back in. She's barely standing in it when I jump back on her. See, she's invulnerable because she was back in the Kindred ult. And here, I have to ult and run away. Luckily, the Blitzcrank misses me by a fraction. And then, I just have to wait on them to kill Vayne, because now that they've killed Vayne, I've got my leap back up. And now that my leap's back up, I'm about to start bouncing like crazy. That's why the title of this video is Bounce House Bug. You guys are about to see the Bounce House Bug. So here, Blitzcrank, I was thinking about deleting Yasuo, but he had his knockup up, and Blitzcrank's also in delete range. So I'm going to jump on Blitzcrank. Poof, he's gone. I'm going to jump onto Yasuo next, I think. This poor Lucian, he thought he was going to get killed this fight, but no, these are all mine. I'm going to jump on him, kill him. I'm going to my auto attack alone does half of Kindred's life. She's going to flash away, but luckily for me, I still have a jump. So I'm just going to jump on her, Q her, land, auto her one more time. And then as you saw, Q damage is actually kind of pathetic if they're not isolated, so it is pretty important to try to jump on isolated targets, especially when you're going for resets with your leap. You can kill other targets, like if your whole team's focusing someone, you can obviously help them kill them. But otherwise, you really need to try to find the isolated targets and go for them. As a matter of fact, let's read. So, when it's evolved, if the target is isolated, the damage is increased to 341 plus 420, which is way more than my attack damage. Right? Yeah. Alright. See how much damage that is? When you evolve your Q, if they're isolated, it becomes way more damage. So just try to focus on finding isolated targets. If you can't, it's okay, but if you can, it's a lot better to focus on that. And then yeah, they're gonna surrender any second. I can't even speed it up anymore. Yep, here we go. Sorry, I just paused because I coughed, and then it might have made the victory screen look really glitchy. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you guys start playing Kha'Zix, because he's pretty much 2 times as easy as Rengar, and to me, he's twice as fun as well. Just use the runes and masteries I showed. If you don't like the runes, of course, you can switch them up, and then, otherwise, follow me on Twitter if you want. I am going to start asking questions about my videos, like what champion do you guys want to see, or what kind of guide. It doesn't even have to be a champion guide or anything like that. So if you want to be involved, follow me on Twitter. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.